Hey guys, Kakarot197 again. This time with a review of the high-grade Universal Century ReZEL from the Gundam Unicorn OVA series. And with its mostly dark blue color scheme with some really cool red highlights, this definitely feels like one of the more down-to-business designs of the Earth Federation. The rest, though, is business as usual for a Unicorn kit. Most of the seam lines are hidden well with a few exceptions, and we'll need to apply some stickers and do some painting. We get a sizable sticker sheet with a nice shiny metallic red sticker that goes behind the visor, one for the main camera, one for the back camera, two for the chest sensors, four for on the front of the shoulders, two for on the back of the shoulders, and one for each side of the nose cone. And then finally we get a yellow one for the V on his crotch that I didn't use. As for the painting that we'll still have to do then, you'll need some gray for the front skirts, the crotch, the shield, the Vulcan guns, and this part, white for the front skirts and the back skirt, darker blue for the area behind the V on the crotch, lighter blue here, yellow for the insides of the main thrusters, and finally black for the insides of all of the other thrusters and vents. So not too much for a quite colorful machine. I also love the included slide of marking stickers with a nice variety of numbers and emblems to really make this thing your own. What I don't like though are the hollow parts here and on the shield. Those stand out quite a bit on a modern kit like the ReZEL and do detract from the overall look. Still, the rest does compensate for this, giving us a nicely presentable ReZEL straight out of the box. On to the accessories then, and it's mostly what you would expect from the ReZEL. We get two beam sabers, but for some reason, we only get one beam saber blade effect part. And you might think that this looks very similar to a master grade beam saber blade effect part, and while they do use the same connection, the one included with the ReZEL is actually slightly shorter, but the difference in length is so small that they probably just should have given us two master grade ones anyways. As for how secure they are in the hands, that could have been better too. So quickly moving on to the included beam rifle, and this is essentially your standard issue beam rifle. Two halves slapped together, a tip, and then a handle that moves because this thing has to transform. This pipe has to be painted white, and unlike the beam sabers, it fits into the included right trigger finger hand very securely with the help of a peg. But again, not everything is as it should. The beam rifle should also be able to serve as a beam saber, but neither this beam saber blade nor a normal high-grade beam saber blade will actually go into the barrel of the beam rifle. And it goes without saying that the E-pack is not removable. And then the final weapon that we're getting is the shield. And if we exclude the hollow parts, this is actually a pretty cool accessory because unlike the beam rifle, which is supposed to be able to function as a beam saber, this one will actually take the included beam saber blade. To attach it to the arm, you simply click it onto either one of them, and due to the shape of the peg, it's not going to rotate around. And now let's pretend to be a Neo Zeon soldier and rip him to pieces. To transform him, of course. Or well, in this case, parts form. And here is the ReZEL in its quite chonky mobile armor mode. I've personally never been the biggest fan of the Methodist transformation mechanism, but I gotta say, with this model kit, it all went very well. The one downside though is that there's still quite a bit left after the parts formation. But again, if it works, it works. What also works really well are those handlebars that allow its allies to hitch a ride. Even with only one hand holding on, I was surprised at how well my Gihren stayed on. And of course, both in mobile suit mode and in mobile armor mode, you can hook it up to an action base with a peg connector. And with the ReZEL back in mobile suit mode, let's have a look at the articulation of this thing. The head is on a double ball joint, will go nicely up and down, rotates around all the way, and will also go forwards and backwards. The shoulders then are very disappointing for a Unicorn era kit, as they're just on ball joints, so they'll go a little bit forwards and backwards. They'll rotate around if you're careful with that backpack, then they'll go up about that far, and that is your lot. Of course, the shoulders can also independently go up and down. The arms will rotate around below the shoulders, bend at the elbow on only a single joint, which was standard for Unicorn kits, unfortunately. The hands are on ball joints, will wiggle around, turn around, and do everything a ball joint does. The waist then does a little bit on that ball joint, will go forwards and backwards a little bit, side to side a little bit, but yeah, rotation, that ain't happening today. The ball joints on these thrusters then are super loose, and that is unfortunately also the case for the hip joint. As you can see, that is not a secure connection. Then the front skirts are on ball joints. They are molded together but can be separated, although in this case, I might recommend you to not do it because they got super loose on mine after I did that. Anyways, the legs go forwards really nicely, backwards a little bit like that, outwards about that far, which would have been good if they were on a ball joint, but they are on a peg joint. What is on a ball joint though are the side skirts, which is very interesting to see. Then the knees are double jointed and are able to go all the way. And then the feet are just on a single ball joint. They'll go forwards and backwards, side to side, and will rotate around about that far. Now they do also have a toe joint thanks to the transformation, but overall average or unimpressive is honestly the best I can say about the articulation of the ReZEL. Yes, it can still take some cool poses, but just don't expect anything too crazy or too dynamic. The fact that a few parts are also quite loose straight out of the box isn't a great sign either. So anyways, as always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And well, it is what it is. It's an average kit that does an adequate job at representing the ReZEL in 1/144th scale. If you're a fan of the ReZEL, then sure, it's worth considering. Just don't forget that the master grade exists as well. For anyone who isn't already a fan, then this kit isn't going to change your opinion, and believe me, there are many better deals out there. For size comparisons then, here it is next to its companions, the Gihren D and the Stark Gihren. Next up, its predecessors, the Zeta Gundam from the Griffios War set, and the Zeta Plus C1. And finally, here it is next to the standard size Gym Custom and the always bulky Zaku 3. And you know what? For a Federation machine, the ReZEL does have some surprising bulk going on. The nose cone even makes him slightly bigger than the Zaku 3. But that is all for this review of this average flyboy. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great day, and I'll see you all next time.